Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on over. Another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Tardio, and I'm assuming if you guys maybe didn't see what the SecDef literally just did and what he just said, we actually just put Iran on notice, believe it or not. And as I'm sitting here waiting on everybody to slowly, and I mean slowly, roll into the chat tonight, what I want to do is I want to get this, I don't know, random video, because we're going to go over some pretty heavy stuff, so you might as well get a laugh in because it's getting pretty wild out there in the world.
Vengo de hablar con Juana y que ella me dijera que ustedes no son hermanas, como le gusta la fruta y me piensan que soy policía, que tranquilo
No, am I the only one that thought that video was funny? I certainly hope not. That thing was funny to me. I don't know. I was freaking laughing my little butt off. Over here, just some other ridiculous stuff. This is what other people are complaining about in the United States. You guys might as well get this and get a laugh in before we get into the SecDef, quite literally threatening Iran over X tonight. Yeah, baby, that's right. I said it. And then we got some other stuff coming up. Believe it or not, I'm going to talk to you about Harvey Weinstein's trial because some weird crap ended up going down over there again today. Israel is still on fire. Looks like the primary culprit is probably all the, like, we're going to get there in a minute. Here, watch this.
Thing that Starbucks loves to do is allow partners to be themselves or whatever that PR that they want to push. I don't understand how that's in good faith of letting us express ourselves. I don't understand how that's supposed to embody craft and culture and bring us back to that coffee house kind of vibe that Starbucks is asking for, because for some reason you all can't understand how to schedule more people in a zone. You can't understand that people are taking LOA, and that you can't understand that it's not appropriate to tell someone that they are okay, that they should be doing the work of 4 people. That's disrespectful. I'm sorry, how often do I see you actually on the floor and actually helping instead of going against things that help us? And when your partners are saying, I need you, I need help, sorry, we're busy, I'm doing admin, sorry.
This is not a legal action that Starbucks is taking by unilaterally deciding what the dress code is going to be and then creating this so-called feedback session where the dress code is already created and we're just expected to let off some steam and still accept it lying down. This isn't a
All I'm going to say is that Starbucks brought that crap on themselves. I don't know, man. Social activism. I don't even know what to call that garbage that they have going on over there. Like, I wish I could tell you what it was, but quite literally I can't. But while we're on the topic, before we get into more crazy stuff of just things that I think need brought back in this country, how about we get some horse diving going on? Like, seriously, like, I'm okay. Like, we're just going to turn that music off. Horse diving. Do you guys understand that this actually tried to get revived in 2000s and it like fell through? I don't understand why. Personally, I think it kind of would be a lot of fun. I think you'd get a lot of freaking people to go over and go talk and watch and get into it. Start building that economy back up, baby. Listen, Mohsen Madawi, I forget his name, the idiot that was leading all of the riots over at Columbia University last year, well, he actually just ended up getting released today, and you are not going to believe the freaking cojones on this guy. Actually, you can, because he knows that he's in the United States and nobody's going to do anything weird to him because he's protected by rights that a lot of people around this world don't get. But listen, like, look at this guy walking out. This is the guy from Columbia University. All the pro-Palestinians are like, oh my God, it's a freaking miracle he got out. Yeah, you guys get the idea, right? Yeah, like, everybody gets the idea. He got cheered on by all those people. And then he decided that that wasn't enough, right? They had to go over and give him a free speech. But wait until you, like, see what I've got coming up here next. Because, like, when I ended up seeing it, I was like, this has to be a joke. So after this guy, like, runs his mouth for a hot minute, we're going to go over, we're going to listen to something that absolutely blew my mind, because as they're worried about all of these freaking illegal aliens that are getting locked up in prison or getting deported and everything else, believe it or not, there is a U.S. Navy SEAL that's actually been held by another nation for about a year now, and nobody's talking about it. We're going to bring it up here in just a second. I want to thank Grant Stearnsfield for bringing that to my attention. Here's his speech, ladies and gentlemen. You know he's going to have a speech.
What did they do to me? They arrested me. What's the reason? Because I raised my voice?
No, not because you raised your voice, you jihadist nut job, because you literally led riots that vandalized a freaking school and people were held hostage because of you.
And they said no to war, yes to peace.
You didn't say no to war. You actually conducted a bunch of violence over at Columbia University. You were one of the people that were leading it.
Because I said enough is enough to President Trump and his cabinet. Yes. I am not afraid of you.
Oh my God. You know how many freaking liberal babies are going to be had tonight? It's so ridiculous. Just over that man's speech. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, let's talk about somebody that's being held inside Venezuela. All right, let's just talk maybe about a U.S. Navy SEAL for a second that's down there. We saw a bunch of Democrats decide it'd be a good idea to fly all the way down for a freaking MS-13 member, go all the way out of the country and whine and complain about it. Anybody ever heard about this guy?
I had no idea we had American hostages still in Venezuela to this day, including an active duty Navy SEAL, 20-year veteran, served multiple tours overseas. And Maduro has this Navy SEAL in custody.
We think that maybe he was tailed or being watched afterwards and was subsequently picked up from his hotel room, you know, a day, I believe, that the day after.
He's being held hostage now for close to a year. How important is it that we get these people home? It's of the utmost importance. It's of the most urgency that I have seen in a long time for a story. And again, the mainstream media fails to cover the story. I don't want to return back with leaving anybody behind. No man left behind.
Holy cow, Grant. Thank you so much for actually bringing that to our attention. It kind of pisses me off, to be perfectly honest with you, that we have a freaking Navy SEAL, retired, like 20-year Navy SEAL vet, being held all the way down in Venezuela. And we have representatives of the United States government that are going down for an illegal alien, not even a damn U.S. citizen, hasn't done anything for this country. And you got people flying out because it's a hot topic in the news. But a Navy SEAL, nah, screw him. We'll let him rot. Like, we're not going to go out of our way over there because that just doesn't look sexy enough. David Abrego, Matt, Ukraine signed the mineral deal 4 hours ago. You're dang right, David. I was about to bring that up here in a little bit, man. Thanks for freaking commenting on it, man. Before we get to that, though, check this out. This didn't even happen 4 hours ago. This literally happened an hour and 20 minutes ago. I want everybody to just take it, look at the screen for a hot moment and take that in. This is the Secretary of Defense of the United States of America. He literally put Iran on notice tonight. About an hour and 20 minutes ago, SecDef put Iran on notice. He said, and I quote, "We see your lethal support to the Houthis. We know exactly what you were doing. You know very well what the U.S. military is capable of, and you were warned. You will pay the consequences at the time and place of our choosing." Kind of interesting that he ends up coming out with that right about now after what we talked about earlier this morning, right? In case you guys missed it, we're going to go over that here in a little bit. Zelensky ended up putting Putin on warning, and he put Moscow on warning, particularly their Victory Day parade on May 9th. So I got a feeling that the time and place of our choosing is going to be somewhere in Iran, somewhere very close to that day. David Abrego coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Now, when he says they were warned, he wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding at all. As a matter of fact, we can go over and take a look at it. Here's the warning. He actually ended up deciding to post the warning shortly after putting that out this evening. Please tell me he didn't put it down. He actually, oh, no way. Did he put it in the comments? Is that what he did with it? Oh, I saw it. Where did it go? He ended up retweeting something that Trump ended up putting out. There we go. Here it is. Here's their warning that they were given. See, Trump, March 17th, 2025, 10:30 a.m. Let nobody be fooled. The hundreds of attacks being made by the Houthi, the sinister mobsters and thugs in Yemen. His language is his language. I didn't make this up. Who are hated by the Yemeni people all emanate from and are created by Iran. Any further attack or retaliation by the Houthis will be met with great force, and there is no guarantee that force will stop there. Interesting. You know what they call this when it comes to writing novels or movies? They call that foreshadowing. Iran has played the innocent victim of rogue terrorists from which they lost control, but they haven't lost control. They're dictating every move, giving them weapons, supplying them with money and highly sophisticated military equipment, and even so-called intelligence. Every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held accountable and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire. They were warned. And just as I told you, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming. It is coming, and it is going to come swift, and it is going to kick them in the teeth. I was asked a while ago, actually, I think it was last week over on I-24 News, I ended up getting asked, what do I think the admin is going to do about Iran? Do we think that their goals and Israel's goals are aligned? I answered back firmly, look at what the United States has put over into the Middle East. We are going to make sure, 100%, we are going to make sure that all of our ducks are in a row before we go over and before we attack Iran. We've got a Patriot battalion moved in the Middle East. We've got a frickin' fleet, or not fleet, squadron, F-18s over inside Jordan. We've got A-10 Warthogs. We've got so many refueling aircraft, I can't even frickin' count. We've got endless supplies of U.S. military munitions that have been moved into the region. We've got at least 6 B-2 bombers, rumored B-1 Spirit bombers. We've got 2 strike carrier groups over inside the region and multiple nuclear subs out there as part of that frickin' package. What the hell do you think Iran is going to do? That is just what we are able to know about. That's not stuff that the military came out and said, you know what? This is all this is what we're going to do to Iran. This is what we're going to do to Iran. Nope, we sure didn't. We just moved it over there. And we waited. And then they messed around, and now they're about to find out. Like I said, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because of where some of these centrifuges are at. Click, click, boom. Correct. Mark nailed it. Dropping the 30-06 freaking comment. I love that. I would not be surprised. Hear me out when I say this. I would not be surprised if you end up seeing one of those nuclear bunker busters that ends up getting dropped in there. It is very probable. And for all of you guys that didn't get your notifications, I want you to know. I want you to know that I reached out to YouTube and I complained today. So hopefully that problem gets resolved. I made sure that all the checks and balances were properly aligned on my end, and there's nothing that I can do about it. Now, Commander IRGC says, we delivered a missile launching vessel that reaches 116 knots, equivalent to 250 kilometers per hour on land. And it has successfully passed all technical and specialized tests. Look out, ladies and gentlemen. Iran just decided to launch a brand new ship that's going to be perfect for generating coral at the bottom of the Arabian Sea in no time at all. It can launch missiles. Good on them. Good freaking on them. Let them party with their stupid little speedboat. I'm so happy for Iran for having one boat. Their tiny little speedboat. I really hope this turns out good for them. I really, really do. Bacha Bazi twerk team. How does protests in the U.S. stop a war in Israel? It doesn't. That's the funniest part about it, and that's why I played the video this morning of the people saying that they weren't going to be paying their freaking rent, or I'm sorry, they weren't going to be paying their debt. That for some reason they're going to not pay their debt, as if that would stop it. Jimmy the Jew, all the way out in Philly, he says Trump should go after the Ayatollahs. Goats first. That will upset them more than anything. Oh, brother, you have no idea how much that's going to upset them. You have no idea. When you talk about You want to hear some prophesizing real quick. Jude Chase says, you need to post your interviews so we can watch them. Yes, sir. I will. You got it. Matt, do you think this military action will be looking upon by Americans, excluding liberals? They hate everything as justified, as not dragging us into war, as the leftist press will shout. Dude, they're going to. No, they're not going to think it's justified. I've actually was just in a space with, it was a MAGA space over on X. 600-ish people were in there, and there was guys that were screaming, this is going to drive us into another war. Why do we have to attack Iran? I heard people whining and complaining about, why are we members of NATO? We need to not be in NATO, or NATO needs to get reformed. NATO needs to be changed. Iran's not our problem. Who cares if Iran's got a nuclear weapon? And that's the right inside of this country. People that don't analyze situations. And no matter that is their belief. And no matter what you tell them, you're not going to change their mind. You can do your absolute best. You can pretend like you can. You can think you can, but I promise you, you won't. Jim Knox. I lost my MP temp on Monday. We'll try again next federal election in Canada. Yeah, I heard that he was not the best pick. Yeah. Jose's Lawn and Snow, member of 8 months. Hell yeah. Or I'm sorry, not Jose, Joe's. I'm sorry, Joe. God, man. Oh, Joe, I'm so sorry. You're not Jose, you're Joe. Yeah, I'm so sorry, you're Joe. Now, a lot of you guys have been... Bocce Bozzy, twerk team. They used to be useful idiots. They're not anymore, brother. I'm sorry. Dude got called Jose. It says lawn, man. What do you want me to say, dude? God dang, now I'm going to get censored. Look, you guys have hit me up for like being not so critical on Trump, words of that nature. Those guys in the comments are killing me right now. Damn, you trying to get your viewers deported by ICE? No, I'm not, man. No. Look, you guys told me. You guys told me I wasn't critical of Trump enough. I can't with Jose's. I got to just play the video.
In the transition, sir, you frequently took credit for the stock market highs. You said it was a reflection of how well you were doing in the polls, and then after you were elected, you said the stock market highs were a reflection of and the American people's confidence in your incoming administration. Now, the stock market's not doing so well, and you're saying that's the Biden stock market, yet you are the president. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market. I'm just saying that we inherited a mess, both at the borders. You could look at every single one of the people here, and no matter who it is, they're doing better, and they are far superior to what took place for 4 years before us. When you look at prisoners being allowed to come into our country at will, just at will, people from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers, when you look at that, what they've done to our country, and also having to do with finance, look at what happened with inflation. We had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but I would say in the history of our country, it ate away at people. And even though you saw a stock market going up somewhat, because in my case, I had the biggest stock market increase, 88% in the last term, in my last term. But I don't view the stock market as the end all. It's an indicator. But what the stock market really tells you, and when you look at the stock market in this case, is it says how bad a situation we inherit.
Incog Faraday coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Yeah. Reportedly, stock market not doing too good, and Trump doesn't want to take accountability for it. He goes back and he blames it on Joe Biden. I don't really know what else you want me to say about that, other than just because a man says stuff doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to agree with it. I'm a big fan of the foreign policy that's going on right now, not so much everything here at home. Somebody that said in the comment section, I thought the camera was off, so I ripped one. No, welcome over to the channel, new true supporter. They are pants checking me in the comment section to make sure that I am fully dressed when I do these live sessions. So from time to time, I stand up and just show them that my pants are indeed on. Next story is probably going to piss a lot of Americans off.
Bria and John, the government wanted Owen McIntyre to spend the time before trial behind bars, but the judge and Boston sided with the defense in this case, which cited multiple medical issues facing the 19-year-old, including autism spectrum disorder, gender dysphoria, and ADHD. McIntyre's attorney argued the teen should be released, citing serious and ongoing medical needs and treatments that could not or would not be provided while in federal detention. The defense filing says McIntyre is being treated for depression and since March has been receiving gender-affirming care. That care would likely be interrupted or terminated in federal custody. Bria and
Who is this particular gentleman in question? Well, this is one of the ones that got arrested for going around and burning and scratching up Cybertrucks. Yep, that's right. Cybertruck firebomber ended up getting released by the judge because of the lack of gender-affirming care and also citing ADHD medication concerns. Just FYI. Now, this one is getting kind of weird. Over inside of New York today. Over inside of Manhattan, there was an envelope reportedly that ended up getting opened up. And inside of that envelope was lots of freaking white powder that ended up exposing several members of the freaking court who ended up getting injured. Reportedly. Skeptic coming in with 10. The U.S. has an insanity problem. We keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result since Vietnam. You are correct, Jeff Stout. Welcome to becoming a true supporter, good sir. Why, oh why, should that concern you? Well, aside the fact that it kind of reminds me of like old school terrorism and everything else that's going on, but also over in the Manhattan criminal court today, believe it or not, what actually didn't hit the news, I'm actually really surprised I found this, was Jeffrey Epstein's retrial. As this was going on, Jeffrey Epstein's retrial was taking place, and one of the key witnesses actually was on the stand today. This woman right here. Her testimony in the last trial was so freaking out of control, it ended up shutting, I'm sorry, not Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein. Dear God, Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Harvey Weinstein. So many of these dang names. I am so sorry. Harvey Weinstein's trial. Harvey Weinstein's retrial. This is her freaking testimony from some
whose
of the earlier
testimony
days.
led to Weinstein's conviction in the first trial. Former actress Jessica Mann.
I told him no, no, no.
And a former Weinstein Company production assistant, Mimi Haley, who alleges Weinstein overpowered her and forced himself on her.
I remember Harvey afterwards rolling over onto his back saying, "Don't you feel we're so much closer to each other now?" To which I replied, "No."
It's painful to go through the process again about a trauma.
They ended up cutting a bunch of it out. Yeah, I know. Everybody makes mistakes. I appreciate it. And that's where I get kind of pissed off at people. They're like, what he said. And I'm like, look, dude, I speak live 2 times a day, 5 days a week. And I promise you, I end up making plenty of mistakes every single flipping time I do it. And so when people take clips of you and they cut them out, it's just something that is just like, for the love of God, man. But what she ended up saying in the first trial was like multiple times that this guy ended up sexually assaulting her, and detailed it, cried in court, huge key witness. And then today we end up having some mysterious white powder while she's testifying that ends up getting sent over to the Manhattan criminal court today and ends up shutting everything down. Yeah, retrial for Weinstein. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. He ended up getting off. Laura Conlon is an independent journalist. If I want to make sure I quote her correctly. She's a podcaster, reporter, host, and pop culture, and she also does true crime stuff. She's actually got a huge one. Anyway, she was over there earlier. She said, this is wild. Was someone being targeted beyond possibly a sitting judge? Judge Caro Mangione, state judge, was most likely in the building. Mimi Haley was the only witness to take the stand today in the Harvey Weinstein trial. Gloria Alfred typically stayed for the full day in court. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg usually makes a morning appearance, generally leaving by the afternoon. We also have Weinstein's entire defense team that was there. That is absolutely wild that took place while that trial was going on. I am waiting for more information to come out because nobody's covered it. Literally nobody. So I want to know who the hell was injured. Emergency crews did end up responding. Allegedly, 7 people were getting treated for exposures. So we'll see what happens. Israel's still on fire, as you can see here. Israel's still on fire. And they're trying to now spin the story and blame it on the Jews, trying to claim that the Jews lit the fires in order to burn Palestinian land, because that makes perfect sense. That's what the Jews would really want to do on their freaking Independence Day, was light a bunch of fires to go over and burn Palestinian land. Nope, not what happened. Nope. These are seriously some of the worst freaking fires I think I've seen in a very, very long time. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Let me grab this. These are some of the worst fires I've seen in the very, very long time. I ended up getting the graphic wrong. Here we go. Here it is. All the locations of where the fires are currently set. Obviously, you can see a couple centered all the way around Jerusalem, and then you see them randomly bordering all the way around the West Bank. Imagine that. And not only that, we ended up getting like a new little Telegram leaflet that ended up getting passed around, calling on more Palestinians to go and start more freaking fires. Beyond numbing to me that people actually are like trying to bring all of it. Like, how do you blame that on anybody but the flipping Palestinians, for the love of God? Like, fireworks? Fireworks? You think it was fireworks from the celebrations? No, sir. No.
To President Trump's tireless efforts to secure a lasting peace, I am glad to announce the signing of today's historic economic partnership agreement between the United States and Ukraine, establishing the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. This partnership allows the United States to invest alongside Ukraine to unlock Ukraine's growth assets, mobilize American talent, capital, and governance standards that will improve Ukraine's investment climate and accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. The Development Finance Corporation will participate and help to establish this fund in collaboration with the government of Ukraine. Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end. The killing must stop, and both the United States and the government of Ukraine look forward to quickly operationalizing this historic economic partnership for both the Ukrainian and American people.
So there you go. And what's it supposed to go to? It's supposed to go to helping to rebuild Ukraine, which is kind of a good thing, right? Treasury's announcement right up over here on your screen. On April 30th, the United States and Ukraine signed an agreement to establish the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund in recognition of the significant blah, 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 a bunch of all other crap. We already saw it. Bottom line, it's going to be a lot of money going up over into Ukraine. And to me, that is a big deal. Why do I think that is a big deal? Because of what Zelensky had said earlier today. Because of exactly what he had said earlier today. Let me grab the short clip. Well, it actually wasn't earlier today. It was like yesterday. Zelensky quite literally threatened the Victory Day parade over inside of Moscow that is scheduled for May 9th.
І ми наполягаємо, що безумовне і повне припинення вогню має стати першим кроком. Росія повинна це зробити. Зараз вони переживають, що у них парад під питанням. І правильно переживають. Але повинні переживати, що ця війна досі триває.
It's like he knew that all of this information would be coming out. It's almost like he knew that all of this information would be coming out. Somebody said, what's he say? Here, I'll read it in English. They must, God dang it, now I gotta go back. They must take clear steps to end the war, and we insist that an unconditional and full ceasefire must become the first step. Russia has to make that move. Right now, they are worried about whether they can hold their military parade, and rightfully so. Right now, they're worried whether or not they can hold their military parade, and rightfully so. Why do you think Zelensky had the balls to come out and say that yesterday? It'd be yesterday for them, today for us is when I ended up getting it. Well, the military parade is scheduled for May 9th of 2025. That is in about a week, right? A little over a week. Over at that parade, they end up having over 9,000 personnel, estimated 5 pieces of military equipment that end up being on display going through there, to include ICBMs and all sorts of wild stuff. Ended up looking up the law of armed conflict and going over that today. Absolutely, it could be considered a valid military target. Yes, no, it's not just a military parade. This is a massive military parade, ladies and gentlemen. This is a massive, think like old school communist, like picture what North Korea does type shit. Like that's what they do, right? That's what this parade is. And they have all the freaking head sheds of freaking Russia that are hanging out up over in the grandstands, just observing and cheering on. You know who else attends that? Putin. Several other members of his cabinet will be there as well. And the rumor is that Russia has already started moving aerial defense assets over into the region to defend against such an attack. Now, I find this extremely coincidental that we just talked about it this morning with Nate Vance when I had him on the show. And I said, what do you think, man? Iran's time supposedly up around the 9th to the 11th. You got the parade going on. Zelensky threatened the parade. Do you think maybe the U.S. might attack Iran? And then also, simultaneously, we might have another attack going on over inside of Russia? I think I might. Today, SecDef comes out and he puts Iran on notice saying, hey, now it's going to be at the time and place of our choosing. And Iran and freaking Russia are both complicit, and Iran maintaining their centrifuges where they have spun upwards of 600 pounds of 60+% enriched uranium. It's going down, ladies and gentlemen. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for the last 2 weeks. It's going down. The negotiations between Zelensky and frickin' Putin have failed. The negotiations between the United States and Iran have failed. Iran continues to supply the Houthis. Iran continues to project itself through these terrorist organizations, and they continue to this day to refuse to give up their freaking centrifuges. Do you think that we are somehow on the right path? Yeah, I think so. We're going to be going after them. It's not going to stop. And Iran is about to get the living crap bombed out of it. And I wouldn't be surprised after the SecDef made that statement if Iran doesn't try to do something beforehand. I wouldn't be surprised if Iran tries to squeeze 1 or 2 things off before the United States actually moves in on them in conjunction with Israel. You know what else the big thing is going to be? I promise you, the moment we start bombing the shit out of Iran, Israel's going to move on Gaza and clear that sucker out. They've been stalling for the longest time. They're down there. They're in place. Allegedly, they've been clearing out Rafah in preparation to receive all of the freaking Gazans so that they can start processing them to move them into their freaking MAGA-funded hotels. All right, because that's going to make life 10 times easier for them, apparently. It's coming down. It's literally that time. Imminent. Yeah, it's going to happen. Question is when. When SecDef just said we're going to choose the time and the place. He didn't say that we were going to go bomb mainland Iran. Probably will, but he didn't say we would. He didn't say we're going to do it tomorrow. We might, probably not. Got a feeling it's going to be a little bit closer to the 5th to the 9th, somewhere in that time frame. So stand by, because it's coming. And not only is that coming, there's going to be an awakening over inside Gaza when the IDF comes knocking on what little doors they have left. And all of those people are going to get shoved down into Rafah, like we had talked about, and then they're going to get processed out of there. Rumors about a draft starting? I haven't heard anything about a draft, Emily. As a matter of fact, our recruitment numbers here in the United States of America are through the roof right now. We have more than exceeded our quota since the beginning of the year. That's the first time the United States military has actually done that in years. So thank God for that. Dimitri says, thanks for wearing the pants, Matt. You make the world a better place. Brother, I wear pants all of the time. I promise you. I'm always got them pants on. Ah, my goodness. Now, Trump ended up getting freaking drilled by a reporter over the MS-13 knuckle garbage. Here you go.
Not as an illegal through the regular ports, he comes in as a gotaway. He didn't want anyone to know he was coming in. He gets here, he beats his wife, not once, but twice. 2 orders of protection. Beats the hell out of her. Now we find out that there is a court document where the father of those 2 children, the mother of whom he was living with, goes to court and he wants to get his kids back because his wife is living with the only fearful gangbanger. And said
what this is not. No, this I don't want to listen to a bunch of idiots talk about it. I thought I got the wrong clip. I don't want to listen to all these people whine and complain. No, Trump got grilled in the White House by a reporter, and he just, yeah, you're welcome. Everybody in the chat, you're welcome. There's a reason why you're not watching me and not them, right? Because we're sick of freaking listening to these guys go off over and over and over. Let me see. I can't believe I freaking lost it. Hold on. I thought it was the right clip. I apologize. I thought it was the right clip. I apologize. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
Murderers, criminals in this country. We have to get them out, and we're doing it. And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. No, they weren't interpreted that way. That's literally what they mean. And DHS confirmed it and ended up documenting it, you flippin' asshole reporter.
Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. Hey, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
Right, we'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them.
So there you go. He did have the tattoos that can be interpreted that way. So at least this guy admits that. And it's still funny because there's people in the comment section that are saying, oh, no, they weren't real. They were all fake. Oh, my goodness. Even this freaking crooked reporter ends up admitting that he's got tattoos that can be interpreted that way, which absolutely means that's what they are. And you know who freaking did it? The people that are responsible for entering them into the system as gang members that are familiar with all of their different tattoos. For the love of God, Terry.
I want to turn to Ukraine.
No,
Terry,
I want to
get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine.
No, they're not there, as if you can't put makeup on them and cover them up. I've never seen that done before.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
That was one of my favorite freaking exchanges that ended up coming out. Oh, God, that made me freaking smile today. Oh, Lord, that really made me smile. All right, last thing before we get... no, I can't even get into it. We'll watch a little portion of this, but the U.S. military's standards are now going up. Cinnamon Willow, thanks for doing what you do, Matt. You are more than welcome. Useless Terry, put it in reverse, Terry. Matt, bro, the letters are photoshopped from hell. Oh, my God. There is a picture, one picture that was floating around the internet. Not the main one, not the one that got documented by the authorities, not the tattoos that are mentioned on his freaking DHS document that entered into the system. No. For the love of God. Even the reporter admitted it, and yet you're still in the comment section trying to say they're doctored. It is the funniest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life. Even the reporter that's like clearly standing up for the guy just admitted. Do you want to hear it again? Well, he certainly has tattoos that can be interpreted that way. Fuck, man. Are you serious? The freaking nut job that was just interviewing the president. Even he admitted it. What is wrong with you people? Like, you are on a no speaking profile for the next 24 hours. Will, back it up, Terry. Interpreted. Ha, ha. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. You too, Matt. Gang, gang, Nana gang. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's funny the amount of people that want to sit there and be like, nope, not the case. Listen, the dude's a terrorist. He was identified as such numerous times. He does not get to claim asylum. He doesn't. And as a matter of fact, I also fact-checked all of the rumors going around whether or not Trump was defying a Supreme Court order. No, he is not. Just because a Krastantine tweets it out doesn't make it true. Okay, I hate to tell you that, but it doesn't make it true. Also, Trump didn't arrest the guy. For the love of God, man. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good night. It really has. I'm a little tired. It's been a long day. I'm gonna do myself a favor, and I'm just gonna jump off earlier tonight. I'm gonna turn myself down just a little bit earlier because I got a feeling shit is about to ramp up over there. It's gonna ramp up. I promise you, it's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming, and I want to get a good night's sleep. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, peace, love,